Sonya, it's so good to have you on the podcast.
I'm really excited to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
It's absolutely my pleasure. I'm sorry for all the listeners. They've already missed a great episode that we didn't record. We just had this great chat, and it feels like we're friends from far away. So I'm super excited to continue our conversation.
Yeah, me too. It's been so great to get to know you already, and hopefully we can do that a bit more through the podcast.
Absolutely. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Okay, great. My name's Sonya Corkery. I'm based in Australia, if you didn't know from my lovely accent. I'm a consultant of Clearplan Consulting. I've had multiple businesses over the years. I come from a strong corporate financial background previous to my business currently. I'm a mum of 3, and I just generally love helping people succeed in their businesses. I see it all the time. I actually see people that don't distinguish themselves from their business as the vehicle. And I really love uncovering and peeling back that onion for them and helping strategically, map that out on both sides, the business and for themselves personally, and kind of integrating those two together and helping them along the way.
Yeah, I love that you help them to figure out that they are not the business. They are not their business. And that's such an easy trap to fall into because it overtakes every area of our life, right? So how do you really, well, first of all, let me ask you this. What led you to want to kind of make that transition? Because as you said, you owned other businesses, you worked in the corporate world. What made you want to make this transition or add this to what you were already doing?
As you know, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, the success rate or failure rate really is concerning for businesses within the first 12 months to 3 years. It's epic. I worked in the banking sector. I saw it was just too much. Just seeing businesses fall over consistently really was concerning. And in Australia, the taxation system, a lot of that actually comes off the back of small to medium enterprise businesses. Now, if they're failing and those businesses aren't bringing in the taxation for the country, like it really affects the country as a whole. But for me personally, my parents were entrepreneurial. They owned multiple businesses. And when I was quite young, through no fault of their own, some of them failed quite badly and they actually got a lot of terrible advice. And I actually remember not even having a house to live in, not even be able to have money to pay rent, and kind of having to move underneath one of those businesses and live in a quite cold climate, and just really having nothing. And I just remember so vividly saying, I never ever want this. Like I never ever want to have to be in this position again. And that really stuck with me. So it really, really pushed my own success. But I didn't want that for other people either. It was really important for me to make sure that, people weren't just surviving, that they were thriving. And, having a business is just such a great vehicle to get you where you want to go that you can't get with a normal job. You just can't. You just don't have those opportunities to make that kind of money. There is just no cap on your earnings. So I want people to get the education around what it is that they can do, but also get the education around mapping out what they really want for themselves, because otherwise you're just on this journey, not really navigating anywhere particularly and just riding along the wave. Well, what if you get to the end and you don't get what you want? This is how we map that out for you. And we say, give yourself fallbacks, have other income streams, passive income streams, utilizing what you can in your business so that if something drastic happens, you have that covered. It's just the bonus doing the business because you love doing it. It's not going to be the end of the line if something happens for you. So we really want to map that out for people.
So really not putting all of your eggs in one basket, right? We're diversifying even within one business, it sounds like.
Yeah, definitely. It's people don't understand what they've got available to them at their fingertips. And it's just amazing. And some of the amazing businesses that we come across that they kind of undercut themselves and don't see what an amazing vehicle they have until we kind of point that out and then give them that little bit of direction. And it's just like, it's like in the beginning, where it's really new and exciting and it kind of like kick it off all over again. And we love being able to be a part of that.
That's awesome. And, I think it comes down to, have you ever heard of the metaphor of like, you can't read the writing from inside the jar, right? So same thing. I think we get so focused on what is happening in our business and the stress of keeping everything up. We don't even see the opportunities that are, like you said, right there at our fingertips. I'd love to hear how this is playing out. So tell me a story about what this looks like when you've helped someone to realize what might be just laying right there as an opportunity.
Well, so I was just talking to a client of mine yesterday. He's in his 30s and he's just like, I just want to buy a house, right? So we always talk about the great Australian dream, great American dream. You want a home of your own. You want to be able to financially sustain yourself and actually, have all the niceties that you want. And he just said, Sonya, I just don't think that I'm going to get there. And I said, you absolutely will. Have you ever thought about everything that you have within your business? What if those items, those physical items, your office equipment, your vehicles, what if they weren't owned by your business? And he's like looking at me, I don't really understand what you mean. I said, well, in my own experience and some of the things that I've done is I have a separate entity, a trust entity that owns all of the assets in my business. And those assets are leased to my business. And that is an income stream coming out of my business legally into my trust. And he you could see the cogs turning. And he's like, well, how's that going to help me buy a house? I said, well, if you buy the house in your family trust, which gives you asset protection and helps you, with your children later on, that income's coming off. So say that vehicle gets paid off in a couple of years, and you've leased that to the company, but the company's still using it. That means it's still bringing an income. That asset's owned and it's bringing an income free and clear to that other entity. And he kind of was like, oh my God, light bulb moment. I said, what if you did that with everything? What if you did that with your office equipment? What if you did that with other aspects in your business? And all these income streams, it's like a big pool, right? And all these income streams coming into the pool. So what if you could do that and then you've put money aside to do investing like shares and bullion and property portfolio? Once we decide what it is that you want to do, we're going to be able to navigate and tell you what you may or may not be able to do in your business. Obviously, we always take them and make sure that they're getting the right advice, but we hold their hand in that process. And it was just like this revelation, like, I can really do this. That dream is not dead for me. But if he had a normal job, his income's capped. There's not much that he can do, right? So little tiny things that we can do and just the education piece really make the difference for people and in their lives. And we just, as I said, I love being a part of that.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And such a simple little thing. It's things that he's already doing, right? But the structure of that and having those things being leased and that's brilliant. And
that's just like one small thing,
right?
Right? And it's just like now, obviously, everything's customized to everyone's business. We look at their situation. We're working with their accounting specialists, like we're working with their solicitors and lawyers, law specialists, and we're just the conduit because people are, as you said, like people are so busy, running a business, throw a couple of children in there, relationship, where's the time? So what they need is they need somebody to come and work in with them to hold their hand to get them there. Yeah. And what we do is we just make sure that we're facilitating those appointments, making sure that they're meeting those milestones and moving forward. And so, they talk about the 80-20 rule. Well, we want to increase that 20% of the time up so that they can get to those milestones more quickly.
Yeah. Fascinating. So really getting clarity on what it is that they're wanting, helping define a plan to move them toward that, finding the other sources that could be streams of revenue. And then what's next?
So from there, we can do a complete audit of their business and look at what they need there from that perspective, just to make sure we're aware of any gaps or any potential risks or anything that could happen, because we want to mitigate those, obviously. We've mapped out then the personal side and how they work together, obviously. And moving forward, if they want me to basically meet with them every month, so I can do that via Zoom, we look at the goals that we'd set on the previous. We make sure that we've assessed where we are with those goals. If something wasn't met, why has that happened? And then we reset moving forward for the next month. And we're just doing that continually as we go, at a pace that works for them, obviously, because I understand, you still want to have a relationship with your partner, you still want to be with your children, you still want to have a life, but enough that we can balance that where they feel successful because they are making those milestones. It's moving forward for them.
Yeah. Oh, this is so fascinating. So, okay, let's talk about who this works for. Does it work for anyone in business? I know you have a certain type of client that you like to work with, but talk to me a little bit about who this is right for. Is there anyone, maybe it might be easier to answer the question, who is this not right for? I'm not sure. I'll leave that up to you how you want to answer.
There is no limit to people who want this kind of framework in their business, really. I do have a passion to working with small to medium enterprise businesses. And the reason for it is sometimes when you make it past those first few years, the business can grow into this phenomenal beast that you never imagined. But when you reach this kind of in between financial benchmark, you're kind of not making any money because of the taxations that you need to pay in the business. Now, if you were, say, a $10 million business or a $1 million business, you might actually get a more net profit potentially than, say, a $4 to $5 million business. Mm-hmm. I love being able to sit down with those people, show them where they're at, and kind of really deep dive and question, is that really what you wanted? Was that what you had envisioned? Or are you just on this train that you just didn't get off, and you kind of just went, well, I'm going to go with the flow and see where it takes me. I really like working with even, solopreneurs because they're fresh. They're at the start, possibly. It's great to be able to set them off on the right path, straight away and not have them have all these, even though lessons are great. If we can mitigate the failures, that would be awesome. Because then, don't have that financial impact. But we really don't want people to get despondent either. We want them to be excited. We want them to push forward. And so even though that 3 to 4 million turnover is kind of a niche market for us because of that, as I said, not really making a lot of money, we can work with, people who are starting out from the basics. So we love working with everybody. I love trade-based businesses as well because I've had a quite successful trade-based business myself. And, we really just want to see the success for those people. So that's kind of who we work with.
Yeah, I love it. Are you working solely with businesses in Australia, or has that crept out to other parts of the world?
It has crept out to other parts of the world. It's been really amazing, actually. So I've had the opportunity to touch base with a lot of people in America, especially. And, this transitions across the globe. The business framework is the same. There are intricacies that we need to always double check, obviously, based on where you're based and the requirements of your government, obviously, and taxation and things. But the business day to day, this is a journey that transitions throughout the world, and we're just so grateful and happy that we've had the ability to come into places like America. Yeah. We love our Aussies, but we love our Americans too. So happy to help wherever we can.
That's fantastic. I love that. It's so cool to see what the virtual world has brought to us as far as opportunity goes. I mean, getting to do this, like you're super early in the morning, I'm heading into late afternoon, and we're having this conversation like here at the same time. It's so cool. So yeah, that's awesome that you've been able to expand due to technology. Love it. Sonya, I would love to hear what has been one of your very favorite moments in helping businesses to really find these opportunities and use this framework.
Sometimes when businesses come to us, they're really hurting. And they're really in a terrible way. And it's been amazing to be on the journey where we've actually helped people go from the brink of closure to a really successful business and kind of reinstill that hope that there aren't failures really, they're just lessons. Some lessons are more difficult than others. So I have had friends where, and I say friends because we become friends on this journey ultimately, where we've actually pulled their business back from the brink of complete closure and collapse. And, they might have had terrible advice previously. It might have been completely out of their control. Like COVID really, really brought to light a lot of things and how things can close overnight, hospitality. But being able to really be a part of that and walk them through that is truly amazing and something that I really cherish, to be able to, say I was a part of that and we made that happen. So definitely.
That's fantastic. Oh, where are you finding your clients? What does that piece of your business look like?
I've been part of a lot of business groups in obviously my own journey as a business owner, and my husband and I actually worked together for many years. We still do, which is interesting in itself. And we've connected with a lot of people in our business groups, and it really took off because I was getting all these kind of referrals from people that I'd worked with. And as I said, initially, I wasn't even in business. I was just helping people because they were friends of mine and we're all in this group, and they'd come to me and ask advice. And my husband was like, this is a business. And I was like, yeah, but it's not about the money. I just love helping people. And he's like, but you're the one who's saying about the business vehicle. You need to get on this train. So I'd say like a vast majority of my business comes through referrals. Which is amazing, because then I've got like-minded people who've connected with like-minded people. And I love that when someone gives us a referral. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Referrals are such gold. And when you have that coming into business, I mean, that's a huge testament to the work that you do. So congratulations. I love that. Yeah. Where do you want to ride this train to next? Where do you want to head from here?
I guess for me, it's really about the amount of people that I can change the lives of. And I know that sounds really corny because, life-changing. It is because people don't know what they don't know they can achieve, about educating themselves on what they can do and have. People become really closed off and despondent. So I really want to give them that hope back. I really want to instill that successful drive back in them. Like I said in the beginning, when they were really hungry, we want to bring that back. So what I would see is more growth across, not only Australia, but intercontinental, like across the world, and really doing this to get them to their next step. So I want to see just more success in the business, and that's my own success. I'm kind of, selfish in that way. I'm getting successful filling my cup off other people and their own successes. So for me, it's more of the same but bigger, and really being able to come and, I do professional speaking as well, and being able to come and talk to people about my own journeys, my own failures, and just say, I've been there. I've been in the trenches. I've been on the 5-day going to collapse. And I've known what that's like, and I've lived it to be able to then help people along the way.
Yeah. And those moments are dark, right? They're not the moments when you think that there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. It feels very hopeless. So to be that voice, to be like, hey, just hold on. You're almost there. We can do this. Here's a plan. That's I can imagine that's just something that fills your cup completely.
I think too, you can have family, you can have friends, but if they're not in business, it's hard sometimes to have those conversations because they want to understand, they want to help you, they want to back you, but they don't get it. And a lot of people get from their family or friends, look, just quit and get a job. You'll feel so much better. But some people like me, we're broken for normal jobs, right? I'm unemployable. I love being a business owner. And they don't want to be told to go and get a job. What they want is they want help to navigate it so that they can keep doing what they want to do and they can be successful and make money along the way. And so, yes, when it is in that really dark time, what they need is support from someone who's lived it, from not someone who's just, like making multi-millions and never had a hard time, which is
Right.
very, very rare, but someone who's been in the trenches and made it back. And they need to know that it's going to be okay and that someone's going to hold their hand and be with them every step of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I have one more question, because I think that this could be another one of those opportunities at your fingertips. And maybe it's something that you're already doing or heading toward. So for you're working with mid-size, small to mid-size enterprises, is what you said. For the startup, for the newbie, for the ones that you want to speak to so that you can help them get it right from the beginning, something that could potentially be a good fit for those people could be like a course that you could, because it's I would imagine, and I don't know your price point, but I would imagine that this is not something that everyone can do at the beginning. Is that right?
Yeah, if they wanted something that was really mapped out, really intricate, yeah, obviously that takes me about 60 hours worth of work.
Yeah.
So I need to cover those costs.
Sure.
However, we are actually implementing a program, so that's in the works at the moment, because we want people to be able to start at a pace that they can manage, and also have something that's affordable for them to be able to do that. Now, we want to continue to be able to deliver this great content just through our normal content and videos, but we want to be able to give them a bit of a framework and a starting map. So we're actually developing that at the moment, so that we'll be, hopefully be able to release that in the next few months, to just give them that kind of starting point of where they, need to go. And then as they can build to that, and I mean, people can always reach out to me. I'm very approachable. But as they continue to grow, they can get to a point where they can come and, have a discussion with us and work with
Absolutely.
us, on a more customized aspect as well.
Yes, I love it. That's fantastic, and exactly where my head was heading. So I love that you're already on the mission. It's not surprising at all to me that you already saw the opportunity there and that you're wanting to head down that path. Sonya, this has been such a great chat. I could keep you for hours and hours, but we are at the end of our time together. Why don't you tell people where they can go if they're interested in connecting from here?
I'd really love to talk to anyone who's interested to even have a conversation with me, even if they've got a spare 15 or 20 minutes. If they head to my website, www.clearplanconsulting.com.au, they can actually book in through my site to have a complimentary 20-minute chat with me, and we can just do a broad overview and a bit of a discussion, and kind of give you somewhere where you might be able to start from. So really excited. You can catch me on all the socials. Just really excited to speak to you guys. Happy to, chat anytime.
Perfect. I will link that down below so people can click and connect with you easily. Thank you so much for being here and sharing all of this with our audience.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really great.